West Virginia versus Kansas football this weekend. In the booth, we've got your game preview for you. And welcome into another episode of the KC Sports Authority podcast, a live edition tonight on Thursday, the 18th. We are live not only here on YouTube, where you can be subscribed to the podcast and check us out over here every single week with all of our episodes. And make sure you are in the comment section tonight, as again, this is a live episode. So KU fans, jump in there tonight. We'd appreciate that. We're also live over on Twitter for those of you that have been following along on Twitter for each of these live episodes. We appreciate it. And now we should also be up live on Facebook tonight. So we'll see how that goes, being live on 3 different platforms at the same time. But welcome in. We are excited for this one coming off bye week. KU football talk today, as KU looks to host West Virginia this weekend. And before we get into that game and some other talk, just a reminder again, if you haven't been subscribed already, as I mentioned right off the top, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below, not just for all your KU content that we have weekly for you, but Chiefs and Royals talk occasionally, as well as some sports betting and things around the sports scene in general. Keegan Russell, JB Merker, Austin Eckert here with you guys. Make sure you also hit us up any of our social medias at KCSA Pod. And again, the live chat is there for you fans to put in anything you want to say about KU football, sports in general, all that stuff. We'll be going through that, of course. But before we get into other stuff, just want to tease a little something that I had the chance to do last night. So those of you who are watching right now or see this later, this will be up on our YouTube channel tomorrow on Friday. But I sat down with Tyshawn Taylor last night, courtesy of my friends over at Kansas Nation, the new private sports lounge in downtown Lawrence. You can check out Kansas Nation on their YouTube channel as well. Sean Kellerman, Daniel Courtwright doing Rock Chalk Sports over there. But I had a chance to hang out with them yesterday and sit down with Tyshawn Taylor. So fun. That was a lot of fun. It was a short conversation, just a quick hit with him, but really enjoyed that. So look forward to that tomorrow on our YouTube page, as well as I'll kick out some teasers everywhere else. But fellas, let's get into it. KU football coming off the bye week, 2-1 on the season. We got West Virginia in the booth this weekend, 5:00 kickoff Saturday night. But before we get into West Virginia talk, we did not have a chance to get on last week. I had the world's craziest work schedule last week and did not have a single night to do any of this. We have yet to discuss as a group on here and with anybody that wants to jump into the chat, just any additional thoughts you might have on the KU Mizzou game from a couple weeks ago. A game that first quarter, KU just rolled out and we were all going back and forth on how exciting it was. And then it just kind of faded for 2.5 quarters of the game. Mizzou dominated a large stretch of it, but the whole time KU was in it. So I'll kick it over to you guys if you have any thoughts, things that you feel like you got to get off about that game. And anyone, again, in the chat, if you've got something you still want to talk about from that Mizzou game, feel free.
Well, normally I kick things off, but right before we started, Austin says that he has a lot of thoughts on this game. To be fair, I know I'm still going first anyway. I'm just going to really quick hitter. I've put that out of my mind. Like, I can't even really recall exactly everything that went wrong with that game because it's all just a blur. I think that was a defense mechanism in the inner workings of my brain to just disassociate from what happened in that game, the debacle that was the conclusion of that game, and just how quickly we fell apart. But Austin, you've got some thoughts. Let's hear them.
Okay, well, for starters, KU only had 3 yards rushing, and Missouri had 261 rushing yards. When you only have 3 rushing yards, it doesn't matter what type of game you're playing in. You're not going to win anything. I mean, that's first off. Number 2, I thought JD played a great game, but when you don't catch the football, especially in the critical moments, it's going to come back to haunt you later on, of course, cost you the game. And that's exactly what happened. But I mean, I thought KU played hard the entire game. It's just, you have that. And also the decision to punt late in the game. That's been a talking point for a while. I disagree with that because I feel like when it comes to a rivalry game, you got to lay all cards out on the table, right? You got to risk it. And if you don't get it, like it may look like a dumb decision to go for it, but at the same time, at least you're trying to win the game. That's just my viewpoint on that. So yeah, but I feel good now that we're coming off of a bye week. As you guys know, we've been undefeated so far since the 2022 season, coming off of a bye week. So hopefully that momentum in particular will carry on into this season.
Keegan, if you can throw up Bob's comment.
Yep, absolutely. This is where I was going to go next.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The safety, let's talk about it. So Bob, you're absolutely right. That game, to say it was a momentum shift is an understatement. It really is. And to me, I remember watching the game, and I remember the commentary was basically centered around, well, is this a missed call by the refs? Was this a mistake by the refs that, effectively was upheld and allowed not only for the safety, but, and I hate safeties too. Guys, safety in football is one of the most crippling things because 2 points doesn't sound like a lot, but you get 2 points and the ball. Like, you're already on defense, you get 2 points and the ball. That's insane. That's like so. I wish the ruling was different around that. But Keegan, I don't know if you've got any thoughts on if they got it right, if they got it wrong.
Well, I mean, they definitely got it wrong. I mean, they came out, the Big 12 announced I don't remember how many days after, but 2 different plays that the refs got wrong. One of them being the Mizzou punt off of the kickoff that should have not been allowed. Was wrong. That was against the rules, and Mizzou did it anyways, and nothing happened. But the safety, it was very, I mean, that was so obvious that the guy lifted and flipped the ball backwards, which is also not allowed. That was missed. It sucks you can't go back and do anything about it, hindsight, which then you could just start the conversation of should every type of play like that be reviewable to where they can then go back and get the call on that? Probably, sure. And I'm sure there'll be some conversation on that, but clearly a huge momentum shift. KU's offense was stagnant already by that point, and that was a drive that you desperately needed to have an opportunity to pull some of that back in your way. And you lose that, you get the safety, and then Mizzou basically took control of the rest of the game outside of one drive. I think KU had one more scoring drive there in the second half that was impressive. But outside that, KU basically their offense could do nothing to get momentum, keep momentum, nothing to provide the defense any rest. And to me, that was the whole thing. Which back to the decision to punt. I've talked with so many different people since that game, and everybody, as easy as it is to sit here on the sideline, to sit here on our couch, computer chairs, whatever, and say in the moment we would have all said, no, leave Jalen on the field and let him go win the game for you. Lance decides, hey, we've got the 2-minute timeout. We've got all 3 of our timeouts. Our defense just needs one stop. And sure, that's a logical process. But the number one complaint I think I have about Leipold, good coach, great facilitator, culture, program builder, all that. One
doesn't
area
know
he
how
has
to end the game.
consistently struggled in is end of game scenarios, end of half scenarios. KU again squandered away the end of the first half when they could have tried and gone out and scored. But having the situational awareness in the big moments to make the right call. I was talking to a friend of mine on another podcast about it, and I was like, don't we have an analyst that's on the sideline whose job is literally to say, hey, Lance, here's the situation. Here's what the data says. Here's what our and I don't know if they do that or not, but the point was, you cannot punt the ball. Like, you knew, every KU fan knew the second the punt team went out there, the game was over, because we could all see it. This defense wasn't stopping anybody.
By then our defense was absolutely gassed, and it was just not smart at all. I think I tweeted out after the game that really, to me, it felt like it came down to some poor coaching decisions, because you take the safety out of it, you take some of these elements out of it. It's like, at the end of the day, I think you're right, man. I feel like he doesn't know how to manage the end of a game. I don't feel like he knows when to risk it. You almost wish he was a little bit more aggressive, kind of like Dan Campbell with the Lions in the NFL. This go for it on fourth every time mentality. You gotta love that. Sometimes it burns you, and I don't know if anyone is a fan of young Sheldon, but there was an episode where he made a point about, hey, statistically, it's always best to go for it on fourth down. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how accurate that really is. I know I'm just referencing a TV show, but it just makes you think. It makes you think the what ifs. I'm tired of having what if scenarios with KU football. I think we're past that as a program, having what if scenarios. We are good enough to be beyond a what if team. I think we were in a position to win that game for sure.
Where you guys remember the Lance Leipold that went for it on the 2-point conversion at the end of the Texas game?
Yeah, dude.
Where's that version of Lance Leipold at? Like,
yeah, dude.
I've been, one of my buddies tweeted it out, and I was like, I was thinking the same thing. Another thing I want to point out real quick: Missouri had the ball for like almost the entire second quarter, if not the entire second quarter. They had the ball for like maybe 14 and a half minutes, right? And we only had it for we had the ball for less than a minute in the second quarter. I mean, that right there, that's another thing that's not going to win you games. When you let the other team hang on to the ball for almost an entire quarter, it goes back to last year. I mean, you guys remember the Illinois and UNLV games. I mean, both those teams, they held on to the ball for as long as they could, except they did it in the second half. But that's why KU lost both of those games. So, it's just a repeat of some of the things we saw last year. And we mentioned the safety. I mean, when KU had that safety or the kickoff that got caught out of bounds at the 1 yard line against Kansas State, I knew that was game over. So, I mean, it was kind of like a deja vu moment for me, but I don't know if it was the same for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, you just knew that once Mizzou had momentum, again, I'm not here to praise Mizzou's program, but they are an SEC team. They have SEC talent. They had a tremendous front seven, which we knew going into that game that Missouri's defensive line's not just one of the best in the SEC, but one of the best in the country. So it's probably the best defensive line KU will see all year. And it showed. The net 3 yards of rushing was awful. There was no space anywhere. The only thing you had was a Jalen breakoff run, and that was not by design. None of those were designed runs for the most part. So you could see that Missouri played very physical. They're offensively, you have 200-yard rushers. You can't allow that. One of them, big play there in the second half to get most of those yards for him. Freshman wide receiver makes an insane catch on a third and 19 or something like that. It was third and super long. Yeah. Gets that. So, but all in all, I think the fact that KU was still in that game, despite the fact that Missouri basically controlled it for all but 10 minutes. Missouri had complete control of that game for all but 10 minutes. But in those first 10 minutes of the first quarter, KU did enough to give themselves an edge. It kept them in it. Jalen looked fine. He was moving the ball downfield from a pass game angle, but then you had these moments where you have a stalled drive, you lose momentum, defense goes right back out there. Mizzou has a 7 to 12 play drive that takes up 5, 6, 7 minutes off the clock, and KU goes out there 3 and out, and it's back to the same story. So yeah, the end of game scenarios, the end of the first half, and the just situational awareness. When is it time? That's a lot of the people that are against analytics. They'll tell you have to trust your gut in football. You have to, the eye test. I know Lance said at post game that sure, maybe you could argue, hey, our defense was gassed at that point, so why not keep the offense out there? He said, hey, that was our call. We had 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. Felt like that was enough. They just needed one stop. But it was so obvious the defense was not getting that stop. So very frustrating. Bob throwing up here. Speaking of K-State, though, what a joke of a season they're having, and we freaking love it. I said this to Austin right before we started, but K-State's season is off to the same exact start we had last year. Super talented team that on paper should win the Big 12, should compete for a college football playoff spot, one of the best quarterbacks in the country per se, good head coach, and boy, are they making mistakes all over the field on both sides of the ball. Not going to get into too much on K-State, though, because this is a KU podcast. But love to see that they're below standings right now. Yeah,
Jeff Grimes is looking like a great offensive coordinator with the way their offense is looking right now.
Oh, my God.
And
guys, if we lose to K-State this year,
Oh, I'm done. I'm done.
Like,
it'll never happen if we
I'm done.
lose it this
Like,
year.
Nothing will ever make sense to me.
How about despite the ugliness of the game and some of the bad things, and of course the run game and the offensive line, is there anything positive you guys took away from that game that to kind of build upon?
I guess the fact that we started out so hot. I mean, you kind of hate those games when you lose those games where you start out so hot, because they're really, I mean, that's what breaks your heart more than anything. You know, I had guys texting me. We talked about it before on the pod, that I surround myself with a bunch of Mizzou fans and, you know, call them my good friends. It's weird to say that out loud, but it's just, you know, it's just a reality. And I had more than one texting me like, "Oh man, like looks like you're gonna get it." And then I didn't want to say anything, so I said that in my reply. I'm like, "Look, I'm not gonna say anything. You know, just I'm not gonna chance it right now. I just right, yeah." Bob said, "Don't jinx it, JB." That's right. I just didn't want to jinx it, so I didn't really say anything, and I thought that was going to be some good karma. I didn't get any good karma. I could have been like "Oh, you guys suck. Oh, this is our year." Like, you thought you wanted Kansas. Like, I could have gone in on them. But no, you know, I kept my mouth shut and we ended up losing. So I saved my moral character, but my inner peace is just kind of that turmoil. Because, I mean, man, we had the chance to win that game. It was a shame. Ultimately, I felt okay after it, because while it was heartbreaking, it was a heartbreak I was expecting. It's kind of like when you're dating a girl that you know is
we
like
said
too
it
good for you.
before. Going into that game, we said win or loss, the season itself from a Kansas perspective wasn't going to be much different. We said Mizzou had more to lose if they lost that game in their season than KU did. I think, you know, even though the 11 point, was it 11? Yeah, it was 11 points was the difference. Yeah. Maybe 12, whatever it was, double digit loss. Yeah. I think the game was closer than that, but Mizzou definitely dominated the trenches for most of that game. So I think that was like the other big negative takeaway I had was KU did not look good in the trenches against SEC talent. So that did not bode well, and we're getting better and we're going to get stronger there. But especially our offensive line, the run game, they had no push. But the one big positive takeaway I had was Deshaun Hanukkah. 2 touchdowns. He's become the security blanket underneath for Jalen Daniels. We're seeing the athleticism out of the tight end. He's becoming a go-to guy because Henderson didn't really have much. There wasn't a lot of separation. Pickett, nothing. Run game, nothing. Canty, nothing. Wentz, really nothing, not much at all. Quebec, nothing at all. So Hanukkah was really the guy getting the ball down the field, and I like to see that because we've been waiting to see what Hanukkah is capable of doing. You know, coming into last year before the season started, big hype with him being a bigger pass catching receiving threat at tight end than what we've had previously. So it's been good to see him get up and going. Leroy Harris still continuing to have some impact on the defensive line, especially against an SEC team. That was good to see. But KU goes in the bye week, gets a week to kind of recover. Had some guys with injuries. LaShawn Williams was still nursing his. Daniel Highshaw nursing a little bit. Bengali Kamara, who came back from his injury to play that game, but he got the week off. Joseph Sipp, we haven't seen yet, gets some time off. So the bye week kind of comes at a good time because coming out of the bye week, it's Big 12 play. So let's get into KU West Virginia. Opening Big 12 game for both squads this year, and I think this is the third time in 5 seasons, or third time in a row.
I don't know about
something like that, where KU and West Virginia are kicking off Big 12 play for both teams. West Virginia coming in 2-1 as well. Preseason, they were predicted to finish towards the bottom of the Big 12. Rich Rodriguez, first year back at West Virginia after his time away. One of the best West Virginia head coaches in the last 25, 30 years. West Virginia was quite successful under him the first time when they were not in the Big 12. But they've got 79 new players on this team. They have three quarterbacks they rotate through. Mark Huell's going to be the starter for most of it. They play a very up-tempo, fast-paced play style, which Rich Rodriguez kind of was part of the initiation of that up-tempo offense back in the mid to late 2000s. They're going to play fast and they're going to try and get as many plays off as possible. Or like Mizzou, they had long play drives, but it was methodical taking down the field. West Virginia is looking to score in 3 minutes. They're looking to get the ball moving fast, and that can play to their advantage, but they've also been inconsistent throwing the ball. Like I mentioned, they've played 3 different quarterbacks. Now, Mark Hill's the one doing most of the passing, but he's not the most efficient quarterback. It's a lot of dink and dump, short yardage, quick strikes. The other 2 quarterbacks, which is another odd thing, they have so many lefties for quarterbacks. You just don't see that. KU has no lefties on their roster at quarterbacks. They didn't really have anything to practice with. But West Virginia has the ability to be an explosive offense. Without Jaheim White the rest of the year, they're their top running back. But Edwards looked pretty good last week. They run the ball pretty effectively. I think they're top 50 in the country in running the ball. They're top 50 in the country on multiple parts of the defense, top 35 in the country in red zone defense. So they're solid. Now, 2 of those games are against very lesser opponents, but looked pretty good against Pitt last week in a rival game. They definitely got up for it. They were projected to lose that game, win in overtime. So coming off of an emotional high last week, traveling, going on the road, it's oftentimes that those teams coming off of that tend to dip the following week. So that does play into our favor. But as we get into this preview, just what are some thoughts you guys have looking at this matchup as we get into it? It's the blackout game, which, I know JB's a fan of you're not wearing it tonight, but you're a fan of the all black, which Austin's got his shirt on.
Should I switch hats?
Switch hats. There you go. Switch hats to your black. Yeah, there you go. Got to get into preview time. So I'll kick it back to you guys, but just early thoughts on this matchup.
Oh, I'm ready for the blackout.
Which KU right now, 12.5-point favorite, double-digit favorite. Which, Austin, you told me this off air before we started, and it didn't click for me yet. But this is the first time KU is a double-digit favorite over a Big 12 team since when?
2010.
2010. 15 years.
You guys.
Half my life. That's crazy.
I don't know how. I thought we ended that streak a long time ago, but
it's possible maybe we did at some point. I can't think of a game that we were double-digit favorites in a Big 12 opponent. Not even the 2 bowl seasons. Yeah, that's impressive. Being a double-digit favorite, even at home against a conference opponent. Honestly, it does have me a little nervous. That K is a double digit. I already told Austin before we started, I think West Virginia covers, and this game's a lot closer than the previews of other people are saying. But
I could see it. For me, it's tough because, look, I think when we previewed the season, I had this game marked down as a loss, and it was really just because it feels like a game that we know we should win, but we might just underperform in. My tune has kind of changed since then. It doesn't matter like the Mizzou game and how that went. It really doesn't matter. I think we showed enough in our first 2 games to convince me that this team is here to play this year. I mean, especially with how the Mizzou game started, we certainly look great. As long as we don't get gassed out, I mean, we're back home. That should feel a lot better. We're coming off of some rest, and I'm hopeful that there isn't any rust that comes with that rest. And I'm hopeful that we can come out with the win. I'm predicting that we are now coming out with the win because that's one of my easy flips. I think I had a 6-6 prediction to start the season, and my one game that I'm flipping is this West Virginia game. I'm calling a 10-point win. I'm hopeful that that's where we're at, and I think the roadmap is absolutely there. We have the formula. We've beaten them before, even though it doesn't matter how many new players they have. And we're familiar with this opponent. We're ready for Big 12 play. We're rested. We're prepared. It's at home. All the signs are leading to something good. And honestly, come on, don't we always play great in our black uniforms? Am I wrong?
Except for one game.
Except for one game? Oh, gosh. What was the game that we lost?
UNLV.
Oh my God! Oh well, that doesn't matter. What was that, like a bowl game? Screw that.
No, last
It's
week.
not at Children's Mercy Park. It's at the booth. So
Yeah.
I feel incredible about it.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, come on. Like I don't know. I feel like KU always likes to do a little bit better when they're in the fancy smancy uniforms. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. Austin, what do you think?
Well, I talked to y'all a little bit off air before we got started about KU being, or I might have mentioned it when we were talking about what happened in the Mizzou game and all that. But KU's been undefeated since the 2022 season, coming off of a bye week. They've won their last, I think, 4 or 5 games. I think it's 4 games. They beat Oklahoma State, a ranked Oklahoma State team at home to get bowl eligible. And then fast forward to 2023, they beat number 6 Oklahoma at home, coming off of a bye week. And then last year, you beat Houston, and then you beat Iowa State in those illustrious Blackhawk uniforms. So, I mean, I just hope it carries on over into the season, which, I mean, I think it will. I'm a little worried that this game might get off to a little bit of a slow start because JB kind of mentioned, like, the rust coming off of a bye week.
Yeah, coming off a bye week.
Yeah, that extra rest. I mean, KU's got 3 bye weeks this season. I mean, for a 12-game schedule, I think that's way too many bye weeks. So, I mean, really for the season, there's no.
They're kind of oddly placed too.
Yeah, K-State and Iowa State also have those 3 bye weeks, but I mean, it's a different story for them. But West Virginia, I mean, they really. I get that Pitt may not be that good, but I mean, for them to like bounce back after losing that type of a game on the road at Ohio, I think sent a message like, hey, like West Virginia, they're going to play the whole 60 minutes, and they showed that against Pitt. I don't think they took the lead the entire, unless they were up. I think they were up like 10-0, and then Pitt came back and had the lead for a while.
I think that sounds.
And then they went into overtime. I mean, so yeah, I mean, we talked about West Virginia riding high on the emotions and how sometimes going into that like it kind of makes you overlook the next opponent when you have such an emotional win in a rivalry game. On the flip side, Kansas, they're really ticked off about how that Missouri game went. So I really think that they're going to come out. I think they've been anxious to play, for the past several days, and I think they'll be ready, but I don't expect us to have a great start. I think it'll take maybe a minute or two, but I don't know. I also, I mean, like we thought that we were going to get off to a slow start against Fresno State. And we had an opening drive touchdown. Yep. So I think if we can get on the board early, I think it'll set the tone. I think KU on paper, they're by far a better team. Obviously, there's a lot of West Virginia fans out there this week. Oh, why is the line so big? I don't understand the hype behind KU. Well, listen, I know they lost to Missouri, and some people out there also think that we haven't played a team with a pulse yet. I would argue that Fresno State has a,
they
has
looked
a
good
pulse.
this last weekend.
Okay, we played Wagner. All right. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to play Robert Morris, okay? I mean, I lost to Ohio, 2 weeks ago, and I'm not going to hold that against West Virginia because they got a big win over Pitt. I mean, I'll give them that. But, I mean, to be fair, I think, KU has proven in these past 3 games that, they can compete with anybody in the Big 12. And even last year, even when KU was 1-5 and everything, they still showed in that moment that they can compete with anybody. And that's what's really changed about KU football. People think that KU football hasn't changed, and it's still Kansas. Well, KU football nowadays, they can compete with anybody they go up against, and it doesn't matter where they're playing, if it's at home or away, like they're going to compete for the full 60 minutes. And that was, just before Leipold came along, that was just a big problem. Like KU couldn't play the full 60 minutes. And, I think about that TCU game in 2016 where they had to, shorten the game because, KU couldn't score or whatever. I mean, like times have changed, and some people just haven't processed that yet. Well, they're going to find out Saturday.
So let me give you guys just a little bit of statistics on West Virginia, just some stats to throw out there and think about. West Virginia on the year offensively averaging 28.7 points per game. Decently solid. Things that have stood out to me in their statistics, though, they average 5.9 yards per play, which tells you that they don't face very many 3rd and long opportunities. They do get a lot of first downs. They average, this was one that was kind of alarming to me, on first downs. They are averaging 6.6 yards per play on first downs. I'm sorry, 6.2 yards per play on first downs. They are averaging 6.6 yards on second down. And then 3rd down, it's only 4.7. But again, if they're getting third and shorts, they're not going to have to get that much yardage. And of course, fourth down, they're negative yardage. So things that stood out to me right off the bat with that is KU's got to be good on first down, especially in the run side of the ball. West Virginia likes to run a lot. Even the fact that White's out, Edwards, like I said, looked good this last weekend. So they're going to look to run the ball. So KU needs to look really good first down. And, defensive coordinator DK McDonald talked about that in his press conference this week, that was one of the things that stood out to him is we need to be more disciplined on first down and get second and longs, third and mediums. We don't want, West Virginia in these third and short opportunities where the play calling options just incredibly open up. So being very sound on first downs, sure tackling on the running backs, not giving them the extra yards, not letting them fight for the extra yard will certainly help. We know last week Mizzou had 1 million first downs, and a lot of them came because they were getting big play after big play in the run game. So that's where I'm looking. And again, I hate to say it because it's one of the most cliche things about football, but usually the team that wins in the trenches is the team that wins the game. And this is an opportunity for KU's offensive line not only to bounce back against a solid West Virginia defensive line, again, probably one of the 2 or 3 best defensive lines KU will face all year. But West Virginia also has a pretty solid offensive line and a lot of push. So KU's defensive line needs to have a big impact. So that's where I think this game kind of starts is, again, right there at the line of scrimmage. Which side of the ball is going to get the bigger push? KU at home, you'd like to think that gives a massive edge to the defensive line, just going to have a lot more juice. We have depth. We've all said the defensive line is probably one of the best units on our defense. So you like KU's chances there for sure playing at home. I think that's certainly where it starts. Then I think the other big one that we need to look at, which is probably one of the most frustrating parts of last week, is the run game. Can the outside tackles get some penetration on the line to open up a hole for Daniel Highshaw? I've likened Highshaw very similar to Isaiah Pacheco. They are a hard runner, not the fastest guy, not the most speed, not the most insane burst, but they put their head down, they run forward, they're a bull in a china shop. But they're also 2 types of running back. They're also the type of running back that needs momentum. If Pacheco gets 1 carry and then he's out, he's getting 2 yards. He's going to get right back up and ready to go. But the play calling design needs to find a way to get the offensive run game in rhythm. We know Jalen's going to look good. We've said it. He's super locked in this year. He's focused and he's making plays. Honestly, KU's offense and the Chiefs' offense is kind of similar right now in that degree that your quarterback's making all sorts of plays because your run game isn't living up to expectations. But I think you got to get Highshaw going. You got to get him going early. You got to find some rhythm, control the clock. Like I said, West Virginia likes to speed the game up and get a lot of rhythm to keep the defense on their toes and tired so they can't switch guys in and out. So why can't we slow the game down on the other side of the ball and control a lot of the clock and just the not just the momentum, but time of possession, kind of just, what's the word I'm looking for? Control the tempo, slow West Virginia's offense down by keeping KU's offense on the field longer, long sustained drives, getting the running game going. I think the fans would definitely like to see that, which I think we will see. We'll see a better run game at home. It is so much easier to get a lot of this that you need to do at home. But those are just the 2 things I think stood out to me the most coming into this matchup. Getting KU's run game going, and then KU's defensive front 7 basically the front 7, controlling the run game on the other side and keeping West Virginia in these second and long situations and not giving up the big chunk play immediately on first down.
Very true. You guys, I have a score prediction. I don't know if we want to jump straight into that.
Sure, go for it.
But I mentioned earlier 10-point victory. I think everything you said is kind of like hitting on the head, but I'm feeling like a 34-24 Kansas. I don't know if I got bit by the optimism bug, but my gut kind of tells me that this will be closer than a 10-point victory. But I'm going 34-24. I don't really have a whole lot to base that off of other than just vibes. But no, I think we touched on a lot of details over the game already, but Austin, what do you think? Am I like way off base, or what do you think?
No, I mean, I think a 10-point win sounds pretty reasonable. I don't think this game's going to be like a blowout of any sorts. I think it'll be a lot closer than most people probably think. I mean, there's a chance that West Virginia can cover the spread, but at the same time, man, I'm also really feeling like KU can win by, more than 12 and maybe win by 2 touchdowns. But that's only if, they're aggressive, maybe middle in the game, and they try to run up the scoreboard maybe. But if it were me and if I had to come up with a little score prediction, I would go with KU winning this one 37-27, probably, or 28. I'd say somewhere around that.
Even closer than the.
I didn't realize it was actually closer, but I mean, yeah, that's how I see the game kind of panning out. I could see West Virginia covering the spread, but also if KU can get maybe an extra possession or two and get a turnover, I think we'll be talking.
Let's talk about turnovers for a second. West Virginia, like I said, their offense has been inconsistent. They are good at running the ball, but their pass game has not been efficient. 3 interceptions on the year from their quarterbacks, 8 sacks on the year. So they're giving up a little over 2 sacks a game on average. So it gives KU some ability there on the road, Big 12 play, tough environment. The booth's not sold out yet, but I'm sure it'll be a very, very full booth Saturday and a rocking crowd.
Are we going,
lots
Keegan?
of energy. I think so. Well, I mean, you haven't given the confirmation on that yet, but I think
me, I'll go.
No, I'm waiting to get confirmation on.
Okay.
But I think
I'll go if you get these tickets.
Yeah, if we get the tickets, obviously we're going. But West Virginia is prone to turn the ball over. Like I said, their passing game, if it's not the quick strikes, anything that's that like the middle passing game, they've struggled with. And even though they've hit some deep shots, they're prone to make mistakes. And if KU can win the turnover battle, which again, super cliche football. What does everybody tell you? Win the turnover battle, win in the line of scrimmage, and you're probably winning the game. Well, yeah, just score more points than the other team, you'll probably win the game too. But I do think that's where KU could have an advantage, creating a hostile environment, having Trey Lathan as your Mike linebacker, a former West Virginia player. Now, didn't play for Rich Rodriguez, but he knows a lot of guys on that team. Despite the fact that 75% of the roster slipped over, like he knows enough about West Virginia to give some insight. And I think he's going to be fired up in this game. He's going to have his linebacking core fired up. So I think KU's got some nice edge here. We haven't talked much about special teams this year, which usually is a good thing because that means special teams are not having
losing us the
issues. But Tate Nagy, oh my gosh. I mean, he's a human juke stick, joystick, whatever you want to call him. He'll catch the ball with no space and then runs it for 25 yards. I've been impressed with that. Punting game's been good. Field goals game has been good. Extra point special teams have been really locked in. So KU has a lot more edge in this game than I think they're getting credit for. But just a couple things that could be concern factors in this game. Like I already mentioned it, KU's front seven is going to need to contain the run game and force West Virginia into these long passing situations. Because if you force them to throw the ball more, that's where you're going to get West Virginia prone to turning the ball over, making bad throws, getting them to 3rd and long. So I think that would play to KU's advantage. So front seven has to be good. But the one that does scare me is West Virginia. Again, 3 games in, 2 not so great opponents. But West Virginia is the number 1 ranked red zone defense in the country, all of college football. Now, I did not do a deep dive in how many red zone attempts KU has and what they've scored on. I apologize. I did not do my homework on that beforehand. But that is an important area of the game, that if you get down near the goal line, if West Virginia is turning you into field goals, and it's, you've got 4 red zone attempts and they all become field goals or less, that definitely concerns me because you're leaving a ton of points on the board. Now, KU has scored a lot of that outside the red zone, but I can think of at least 2 Cam Pickett touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah.
LaShawn Williams touchdown run, which I believe was just inside the red zone. Might have been just outside, but it was pretty close in there.
Yeah.
I feel like I trust Daniel Highshaw to get
that's why to me this is the Highshaw game. He needs to have not only do I want to see him, bust a big run down the field, like let's use his physicality and I hate when college coaches spread the ball out around the goal line. I get it, spread the ball out could cause confusion, get guys in motion, whatever, but just line up and just go pound for pound with guys and let your dominant running back, who's one of the strongest guys in the game, probably the thickest legs in the game, a Saquon Barkley build, not saying he's the same talent, but the build, he's got that leg power. Let him drive it. He's just got to go 3 to 6 feet. It can't be that difficult. So I would love to see KU's offensive line show a lot of fight and punch in this game and give Highshaw some opportunities to showcase his talent.
Earlier you said that earlier you compared him to Pacheco, and I get what you're saying with it.
Well, and I do think again, not to diss on Highshaw, but his vision is not the same as what Devin Neal's is. I mean,
but
we see that with Pacheco. How many holes does Pacheco miss because he runs out of the gate so fast? Like a bull that's been, locked up, ready to get out there, that he loses sight on the best hole to run through. And I think Highshaw just doesn't quite have the same awareness for that like Devin did. So, but
from a fantasy football perspective, Isaiah Pacheco has been a letdown so far this year. Yeah. So I just thought it was kind of funny that you made that comparison. And I mentioned that because I have Pacheco in 2 of my leagues, and he's on my bench. And I didn't draft him super high, RB3 in both of the teams that I drafted him for. But it's like, man, I should have hopped on these trade proposals I got before the season even started. Woe is me for thinking that he would have a great backup role on my roster just in case something happened to a starting running back of mine. And now it's like, dude, I'm ready to shop that dude. He is not doing too hot for me. And so I right now I would rather have Isaiah not rather have Isaiah Pacheco. I'd rather have Daniel Highshaw on the Chiefs than Isaiah Pacheco. I might have just said the most outlandish thing ever said on this podcast, but I would totally take it. I think Kareem Hunt is better than Pacheco. I don't know. I'm ranting for no reason. I'm just in the mood.
Yeah, now we're getting the Chiefs talk here.
All right, we can cut it off. We can cut it off unless people just think I'm an idiot, or if they want to hear more hot takes.
Yeah, go for it. But hey, those of you watching live here, YouTube, those on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, give us some more comments. Bob is not the only one that has to comment, and we always appreciate Bob's comments.
We love you, Bob.
Always encourage him to do so, but he's not the only one out here watching right now. So I know there are plenty of you that have takes, but start giving us some of your game predictions. I think JB, what you said, 34-24.
Yep, 34-24.
10 point. I also have this at a 10 point. I do think West Virginia gets a back end cover here because I think this game's going to be closer. I think KU's still going to have some offensive line hiccups against a good defensive line, and I think they're going to have some defensive moments too where West Virginia is 1 or 2 big plays away from keeping these things interesting. And if that red zone defense is stout, then KU settling for a couple field goals. So I have this 31-21, 10 point. KU still has most control of the game, but I think West Virginia keeps it interesting in the second and third quarter. Again,
wow,
Lance Leipold's not been great into the second quarter, so West Virginia scores coming to halftime to keep it close. But I do think fourth quarter, Lance is going to take the Mizzou game and go, all right, what do we need to do to leading into the fourth quarter to put us in the right position to have control the rest of the way. So I do think we're going to see a better fourth quarter from KU, especially at home. And again, that's going to be tied back to getting Daniel Highshaw going. If he's active and going, that's going to help you control the clock, control the pace of the game, and keep this spread enough. Now, like I said, I think West Virginia gets a back end score to keep it close, but 31-21, Austin, you've got the closest of the three of us for sure. But outside of that, other thoughts you guys have on this game or leading into Big 12 play? Like for me, I think I hate to say it's a must-win game, but it should be a must-win game because if we feel confident KU is going to get to 8 or 9 wins and the chance at playing,
these are the types of games you got to win in order to get there.
Can't lose this one because next week, Cincinnati, the game we've all circled as the potential hiccup gotcha game. Cincinnati's on a bye week this week, so they're going to have the rest, and KU's not going to have the rest. So you got to take care of business this weekend for sure, especially if you want to. I had the Big 12 standings pulled up earlier, and I didn't want to post it up here just because KU hasn't played a Big 12 game yet, so they look like they're far down on the list. Ahead of K-State, though. Ahead of K-State. But this is one of those games, you want to get off to a good start in Big 12 play and swing the favor in your way. And for those of you from a betting angle, KU's plus 1,200 to win the conference still. So,
hey, you know what it boils down to with this game, guys, is if we lose this game, I'm not too worried about our chances to make a bowl game. But if we lose this game, we're not going to win the Big 12. I think it's just that simple. So, and I care more about winning the Big 12. I think we all do. I think we all should have our sights set on a Big 12 title. And if we
because if you're going for a Big 12 title, then you're definitely making
obviously, for sure. So it's like at that point, I mean, we're looking at getting to the Big 12 title game, and this is step numero uno, and it's a great opportunity for us to win. Good teams are going to win the games that they should, and they're good teams, like great teams, are going to win the games that they probably shouldn't. This is one of those games where, regardless of if we are good or great, we should win this game. So I'm gonna stick to the dub. I have officially flipped my prediction from the beginning of the season. I'm liking our team. I'm liking our chances. We just got to get it done.
I had totally forgotten that this is one that you put down at the preseason or the season preview episode as the loss, because West Virginia
always
was
weird
not going to be a good team.
There's always weird losses every year, so it's like you got to throw one
last
in.
year especially.
Yeah, dude. Like, hey, I think we're beyond that as a program. I really do. I think last year was just a bit of an anomaly. I think we're on our path to rectifying those mistakes of previous years. I think we're going to win this one.
I agree.
I just think with this game, if you don't win it, you're going to be looking back, 2 months later, and you're going to be like, that's a game we should have won. So I feel like it goes for not only this game, but for also the Cincinnati and UCF game. You win those two games also. It does a lot for you. Texas Tech, obviously, I'm not trying to dive deep into the season and what's ahead, but you're going to be in a really good spot if you're 5-1 going into Lubbock, whether or not you win that game. You get Kansas State after that. Oklahoma State's not looking good. It's just like it just sets you up really well. So, a good start. You're likely going to have a solid season. Now, if we don't make the Big 12 championship game, it is what it is. Hopefully you can get into a good bowl game after missing out on it, last year, which I think if KU was 6-6, they probably would have played in a high-level bowl game with the amount of top 25 teams they beat.
Yeah, true.
Also,
one thing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, we just got to remember what happened last year at West Virginia. The way that game ended. Hopefully, it ticks off the team enough to be like, we don't want that same thing to happen this year.
Gosh, Garrett Green running all over the field for first down after first down, and watching our head coach lose the coaching battle in those big moments. Like we kind of led the episode off with that one of the deficiencies of Lance Leipold on game day, as good as an all-around coach he is what are you doing in the big moments? How are you coaching your team through the big moments? What kind of feel for the game do you have? The situational awareness. Again, we didn't say it, but Mizzou knew coming into the game they didn't have their everyday kicker. Now, they still had a kicker, but they played free. They played without the like somebody, I can't remember who said this last week, but Missouri played to win, KU played not to lose. Like after KU went up, the rest of the game, KU played not to lose. We used to talk about that with Andy Reid in his first 4, 5, 6 years with the Chiefs and Alex Smith. They always looked like they were playing safe. And we've got a 10-point lead in the second half. We're gonna change everything up, slow it down. What do you know? You have 3 3-and-outs in a row. The other team builds momentum. You got to play to win the game. You should always, especially college football, you should be looking to score every single time your offense steps on the field, no matter what the score is. How many teams play nobodies and the score ends up 70-3? You don't stop scoring until the game is over. And I would like to see Lance be a little bit more aggressive in those moments and just have a better feel for the game. When your offense is cooking, let them roll. When your defense is struggling, don't put them back out there in a situation where you're asking them to man up for 3 more plays and get the job done when nothing against the defense, but they had been kicked around for 30 straight minutes of possession time. So I would like to see Lance get back on that side because I think Rich Rodriguez is a good coach. And I think this is an opportunity for Lance to make up for some of those mistakes. But another thing I want to mention that I'm hoping we see, because we haven't had a chance to really see much of him yet, but Bryson Canty, one of the other transfer receivers, came in starting fall camp injured, hasn't really played much at all. But a guy that certainly could be an X factor in this wide receiver group throughout the season. And it might still be another couple of weeks till he really gets going, but he got some run time over the bye week with the ones. And I would like to see him get some action and a little bit more Levi Wentz. We know what Emmanuel Henderson's capable of. We kind of see Cam Pickett's role, but can Levi Wentz and Bryson Canty make a little bit bigger impact? Because despite the depth of options KU has at wide receiver, it just doesn't have the feel yet that it's as good of a group as what we had last year. Now, again, super solid trio we had last year, and then throw in your tight ends and Devin Neal at the backfield. But we'd like to see a little bit more out of the wide receivers. Jalen's done a really good job at spreading the ball around and getting everybody involved for sure. But it would be nice to see Canty and Wentz get a little bit more action for sure. And Bob put those on here. This is a good take here. The last 3 years, if we beat West Virginia, we go to a bowl game. If we lose, we do not. Pretty simple. God. Win the game.
Win the game.
Win the game, go bowling. If you win the game, you're halfway to bowling already, with a decently favorable schedule down the road. But I don't have much else on this game. Anything else you fellas have before we wrap up?
Are we allowed to put double-sided tape on our receivers' gloves? Or
put some Gorilla Glue on the gloves?
Yeah, Henderson dropping that. High shot.
Henderson's dropped
down.
Oh,
I knew it was over after that. Unfortunately, nothing against Henderson, but yeah,
he was open. He had it, dude. I remember like watching that. My eyes are bugging out of my head. He drops it, and I'm like, oh, my life just left me. I was not in good shape after that one.
Yeah. You got to see Henderson get like a 70-yard touchdown this weekend to, help get over what happened, the previous game. Speaking of this game, why hasn't this game been sold out yet? What's going on?
Dude, I don't know.
Like, we're less than 48 hours away.
There is a chance for a storm to roll in the afternoon and off and on rain throughout the day.
So what?
Maybe that's deterring some people.
So what? You've been waiting for football to be back in Lawrence for the longest time, and you're scared about a little rain.
And it's the new booth.
Come on, it's a blackout game. It's the first. It's the Big 12 opener. We're coming off of a bye week, and I said earlier we're undefeated coming off of a bye week since 2022. I mean, like, you got to be there, but I mean, now everybody wants to go to the Cincinnati game because they think Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are going to be there.
Hey, we broke that news. I broke that news. I said it. I was like, she could totally be here.
It's happening. It lines up with the Chiefs' schedule well.
She really could.
I'm just curious, like, which suite are they going to put the both of them in without them, like, oh my God, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, oh my God, because
I think it's more likely that Travis is there and Taylor's not.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know how that works with her schedule.
Do we boo Travis Kelce, you guys, if we see him in the Cincinnati jersey?
If he's wearing Cincinnati gear, yeah, you have to.
Him.
Yeah.
You know what?
He's going to be wearing Cincinnati clothes if he's going. I mean,
after that drop, after that mishap in the Chiefs game, if he had caught that touchdown and not just given it to the other team, we would have won the game against the Eagles.
Did you see the opening to New Heights this week? I mean, he brought it up immediately. He's like, I can't do that. I can't drop that ball. He's like, I don't care what Pat said. That Pat said, oh, I need to put the ball was right where it needed to be. I knew where it was going to be. I dropped it. I cost us the game. I can't do that.
Well, if you wanted to retire, you should have just done it earlier. I know you're thinking about that.
Sorry, he's going to bounce back.
He's not ready to retire. He's not ready to retire, but he's like, but he's
act like it.
Look, I'm going to say it. He is, in a sense, he is washed. And I will say this with I will just say he's got didn't he just sign like a 2-year extension or something? Or am I dreaming?
1 year.
He's in his final year of his contract, I believe, this year.
Okay. Because
yeah.
I legitimately would not be shocked if he is gone after this year. And
Yeah,
it's like
it's obvious.
it's
They're getting married.
heartbreaking.
He's gonna retire. They're gonna win the Super Bowl. He's gonna retire, and then he's gonna go marry Taylor Swift.
Hey, if we win the Super Bowl, go ahead, retire.
And he's gonna have the greatest year of a potential professional athlete it's ever had.
Yeah,
winning in everything in life. But
I mean, I don't know how you get better than winning a Super Bowl and marrying Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want some more Chiefs content, though, Chris and I have talked, there's so much Chiefs content out there that we don't want to compete with all of it. But him and I have talked about we're going to try and get something out before this weekend just to kind of talk about the Chiefs season a little bit. And then, of course, him and I will talk some more Royals as their season is wrapping up. Definitely not making the playoffs and borderline might not even finish above 500. But there's some nice things to still take away from this squad as we come down the final stretch, seeing Carter Jensen, Jack Caglione back in there, and the pitching we've got a lot of options going next year, so still a lot to get into. Next week, just some things to look forward to for Jayhawk fans. We are going to hopefully be back to once a week live KU episodes, whether it's football or basketball. So next week we're going to talk some KU basketball. It might be 2 episodes of KU next week, 1 football, 1 basketball. But we will definitely be talking some KU basketball next week with the fact that they are wrapping up Bill Self boot camp. If you've seen all the pictures today from the locker room, those guys
everyone looks shredded
to the max. So we'll talk some KU basketball next week and talk a little bit about Taylon Kinney, a recruit that KU's in on, just kind of look at the future. As well as look back to this last summer. We were very critical on this podcast back in the spring about recruiting because we were missing on guys in the portal. And now we'll kind of give a report card on how each of us feel Bill Self did throughout the rest of the summer coming into the year. So yeah, feel free to send any questions our way. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at KCSA Pod. You've got all of our Twitter handles there on screen too. Send us any questions for KU basketball that you want or things you'd like us to discuss. We'll talk about rotation projections. We'll talk about minute projections, some of that kind of stuff next week sometime. So send all that our way. Again, if you're watching this later, leave your score predictions in the comment below. We'd appreciate that. Make sure you're liking and subscribing like we say every single episode. And if you're this far into the episode, I'm sure you are subscribed. But do me another favor. We have over 1,200 subscribers on YouTube, but less than 500 followers on X or Twitter. So if you're not following us on Twitter, go and do that for us. Not super active on Twitter, but we're always going to tweet pertinent information about the podcast, any upcoming content, things that we're going to be doing. So make sure you go check us out there. But that'll wrap it up on this one. Any final thoughts from the 2 of you?
Let's go win it.
Let's win it. Let's get it done this weekend.
Otherwise, I'm going to be severely disappointed. And who cares if it's a little rain? Wear black. Show up and
wear black.
Show up and support your Jayhawks. Also wear black to stand in solidarity because we lost a home game next year. Should we talk about that real quick?
Okay, we can wrap up with that.
KU's
going to,
because I got thoughts on that too. I'm sure
overseas to take on Arizona State in London for a college football game.
We're playing in England.
Giving up a home game to go play for the Brits.
Piss. That's what I said whenever I saw the news. I said, "Are you taking the piss right now? We're really going to give up a home game for this?" Well, listen.
Of all the years, this should have happened last year.
Listen, two things. I mean, I like it, but I don't like it because like I've always wanted to travel to the UK for the longest time. So now there's an opportunity for me to finally go do that. So I guess that's great. But also, you don't win this game. Oh, why did we do this? This is the worst decision ever. Oh my God. And then we have the European curse that Kansas State has.
Dude, it's going to derail our program.
And look, everybody's complaining we lost a home game. Okay, we still got 6 home games next year, which, I mean, that's a lot of home games, I feel like. I mean, or just as enough as you need. But the bad part about that is you only have 3 Big 12 games at home. So obviously that's not ideal. You do get the border war at home, which that's another thing. You play the border war, I believe. Yeah, it's the border war, and then you go to London. Oh boy, I don't like that.
What a stretch right there.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, not a fan of it.
What is
like
this
that
about?
announcement.
Already scared about next year's game.
It's not It's better that it's next year than this year because there'll be more renovations
Thank
to
God,
the booth next
yeah.
year. So you'll have half a stadium, I guess. But should have been last year. Should have made this last year. John looking like a new man. Yeah, Austin. What happened to the facial hair? I know Bob asked about that earlier.
Yeah,
just have the trash stash now.
Well, I think Bob asked me about it earlier, and I didn't get a chance to respond. No, I've been losing weight, and I was like, you know what? I think it's time to clean shave the beard, which I haven't done in 5 years. Yeah, it's been like 5 years since I clean shaved this. And I wanted to leave this alone because I liked how the mustache looked, and I was like, okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna rock this look for a while. So it's like weird. Like I shave my face, and I'm constantly doing this because I'm like, oh my god, this feels so.
You look like you're about to go into firefighter training because that is the firefighter stash for sure.
I like the stash, and I plan on keeping it. So,
Austin, do the ladies love it?
I don't talk to any ladies right now. Doesn't mean I can't talk. Doesn't mean I can't talk to them, but I'm sure they do if I were to ask.
All right. Well, we will wrap up there. Go check out all of our platforms. Make sure you're subscribed. We've said that 4 times now, but make sure you're subscribing.
Please do.
Let's get the dub this weekend.
Come find us at the game.
Come find us at the game. Yeah, if you see us, if you see any of the 3 of us, come find us at the game. Tweet at us. That would be great. We'd appreciate that. And we'll do this again sometime next week.
Rock chalk.
Rock chalk.